because it was so.
Oh,
like,
no, I mean, my memo to planning about that other thing, I gave lots of notes, but.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, okay,
Are
we
we
seem
on?
good now.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order, and I'll seat Elise for Drew.
Okay.
We're gonna have that beeping constant.
Old business, it says none.
Oh, oops.
Discussion, possible decision, application 789, 15 Silver Road, clearing within upland review area associated with construction of new house. Okay,
Just
so,
open the screen.
So,
seven,
so I heard from there were two consultants here last week.
oh, right.
Mike Mako
Yeah.
and Mike Smith, the surveyor, and neither of them could make it tonight, but we had a pretty straightforward discussion last meeting. This one honestly wouldn't even have to come here if not for the clearing that occurred near the little stream that crosses under the road. If they hadn't cleared there, everything else, the house, the grading, everything's outside of the upland review area. So they just got a little carried away cutting trees. But so they said, they're going to leave that area alone and let it regrow. And the one thing I did talk to Mike Mako about was that, it's very possible you would require permanent markers, which in this case might just be one marker because it's how, it's just way in the corner of that little water course. And that can't be more than, I forget what scale that's at. But actually, I think I gave you both copies. Is that two identical pages?
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, sorry, just a little.
Yes, it is.
What scale is this? It's a 20 scale. So, yeah, where the water course actually crosses the property is like less than 20 feet, probably 10 to 15 feet. So, maybe you'd have one marker, unless you wanted to mark like the upland review area or something.
Just to bring you up to speed, this is a very odd lot. This is almost to the end of Soco. I think maybe is that Lamson at 190 there, or no? This
Yeah, because
the
the driving range is here. Yeah, right here.
Oh no, it's not Lamson.
That's
But anyway,
403 Main
it's
Street.
just a very odd lot, and
Okay.
the wetland is just in that tiny area at the end. But what we have been doing a lot is requiring wetland markers, because even if somebody comes before us and they don't understand the importance of not being in violation, the next owner might not, or they may kind of forget about it.
Right.
This lot isn't that much of an issue, but
Okay.
some lots people will throw lawn clippings and tree branches and whatnot in the wetlands. So we wrote up a
Standards for
so like
marking.
every
Oh, okay.
X number of feet, and depending on the size of the wetland, and we try to be lenient, but we'll require like either like granite posts or lolly columns filled with something permanent, a couple feet up, and we have markers that state the Conservation Commission and whatever.
Okay.
Because
Just-
trees have a way of falling and
Yeah.
or being cut.
So
Like
so-
a totem pole or something.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
That'd be creative.
There's one up my way. I still don't know why it's there.
Oh,
All right, cool.
So anyway,
All right,
so
thank you for that.
Yeah, so this application, they just came before us. They had clear cut a little bit too far. So there's not much that we can actually do when somebody's in violation. We don't have any powers. We have to go through zoning or the CEO, but we
or the town attorney. There's things
Yeah.
we can do if it's egregious. Like usually we can get cooperation. Like our first goal is just to get cooperation. So as soon as I contacted them, they stopped and didn't stump that area or anything like that. But so usually we're trying to give people the benefit of the doubt initially, but yeah, if people keep ignoring, we can go to
Right.
court and do all that
Yeah.
stuff. But,
Understood.
So, okay, so, can I have a motion to accept this, to approve this application?
I'll make a motion to approve application number 78915 Sokol Road. I'll second.
Okay, so were there any other questions or discussion about this one? This is one of our easier applications as of late.
and I'm sorry, I had another text back from Jen, but did you say anything about a condition? Like a
Oh,
permit?
and yes, with,
With the stipulation that we add markers for the wet,
one marker.
one marker.
Right.
Showing where the wetland is located.
And hopefully they'll speak to you, so they'll know where to place it and how.
Yeah, and hopefully Mike Maka will help because he's put in a lot of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he knows the
Okay,
score.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so now the second one, they asked us to table it until,
Yes, for 790, the applicant is preparing the information that was requested, and they're not ready to present. And I let the intervener know as well that, and so we're just going to be tabling till our June meeting.
I thought maybe the intervener would be here with a petition of names.
I have not seen a petition.
Okay. So I don't know if you read the minutes, Shane, but they want to clean out a pond up at the winery with this hydro raking
Machine.
method, and George Schober came with the fellow across the street that are protesting it, and if we don't call for a public hearing, which we do if we consider a significant activity, then they'll force it anyway.
But
if they get a petition with names and
But I think
evidently
that time has lapsed, so I think
Well-
it'll be up to you next meeting to make.
Okay, and just as an FYI, I did a lot of research and read a lot of case studies on this particular method, and it does seem to be one of the more widely accepted, like the town of Torrington has been doing it, a couple towns in Massachusetts that do it like every year or two on certain lakes and ponds. It seems to be safer environmentally. Some of the concerns raised were turbidity and affecting Gulf Stream, which the little creek runs into, but
Gillette.
Gillette, what did I just say?
Gulf Stream.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know Gillette.
You're
yeah.
thinking of a nice
Yeah.
jet that you'd
Yeah.
like to own.
But anyway, if you do look at it, it just seems like a better way than some other ways to
Excavators to
to-
dredge upon.
Yeah, and
Right.
Yeah.
so they just wanted to do 1 acre of a 15-acre pond, 1 acre each year for 3 years to try to keep the pond healthier because it's being overrun with like lilies and whatever. So, I mean, it seemed to us to be a good application until we were
Intervened upon.
intervened upon. Yeah.
But we did request more information from the applicant, so they're like almost ready with that, but they weren't ready to present tonight, so they just asked that we.
Oh, and I read some on places in the state of New York where they do it, New Jersey, a lot in Massachusetts, Florida, but I don't use them as an example of how to protect wetlands down there anyway. But anyway, it just we didn't think it was a significant activity because it really wasn't going to impact anyone else but anyway.
So we kind of deferred that till we get, like formally deferred till we get more information, and then
Yeah, that makes sense.
the next meeting we'll
Yeah,
see
they were
what we've
gonna
got.
consult a biologist too, I think, or,
Right.
Yeah.
and we were just, they brought up a concern about Gillette Brook, so. And
That brook dries out.
Yes, well, wildlife was, Gillette, Gillette Brook?
Yeah.
No, it runs right through my property.
Yeah.
That never
Maybe-
dries, it
maybe
never
so.
dries up right there.
But yeah,
Yeah,
even,
maybe where it leaves the pond up there, it dries out.
Yeah, up on Stafford Road, it's dry, but then it's roaring right now.
It's
You know,
roaring
it
right
always
now.
roars in the spring.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know if that made a difference, if it dries up or it's steady flowing, but if we're
Oh, my
tabling it,
God.
we're tabling it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I feel left there alone.
Okay, so new business application 791, 46 Harvest Hill Drive, construction of in-ground swimming pool and open review area. Vernon Pullman.
and I'm sorry, what's your name?
Keith
Keith. What's your last name?
Rivers.
Rivers. Okay, you're the property owner? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, I think like no one from Pullman could be here tonight, but what I do have, so I think I emailed out just this sketch, and they did add what I asked for on the drawing, the grading, proposed grading, proposed stockpile area, silt fence, all that. So the whole pool would be within the 100-foot upland review area of the wetland. I haven't gone out to visit yet. I can talk to you about, I'll have to come by sometime, but let me just, I'll send that around so you all can refresh your memory. And we're only able to receive it at tonight's meeting. They can't act on it until next month's meeting. But this way you could get out any questions, and we could convey anything to Poolman if anybody's looking for any other details or has concerns or thoughts on how it could be done differently. And then I'll visit and see if I have any other thoughts. But I know they were trying to kind of just submit this in time for the meeting and at least get it received for now. But did you have anything you wanted to
No, really.
explain or?
No, not really.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Do you know, are any trees going to have to be removed?
No.
Okay.
What do you typically look out for in-ground pool installations? Just the positioning of it and then removal of anything? Right?
Yeah, there's,
Like how far it is from
From the
wetlands
wetlands.
and where they're gonna stockpile, and a lot of times we wanna be sure that there isn't going to be discharge, like the
Yes.
pools have to be
Yeah.
emptied or whatever, and a lot of them, well, some of them don't use the chlorine now anyway, and then some of them, they will discharge them into a tank or whatever.
yeah, I'm not sure, there's
I got
a couple of the
yeah.
big pool companies, and some of them will come, if water needs to be drained out of them, they'll put them right into one of their trucks. I don't know with your pool if you'll have to lower it for winter or anything like that.
No, it doesn't need to be lowered.
Okay.
No.
Because the main thing is they just don't want chlorinated water going right to the wetland.
Right.
But if you did ever have to lower it, you just do it
What?
nearby the pool.
We're not doing chlorine pool anyways.
Oh, you're doing salt water?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, they call it fresh water, but there's a
Okay.
little bit of chlorine in it.
Okay, but not as much chlorine.
No, not like a normal pool.
Yeah.
At all.
But yeah, just if you did have to empty any water out, just let it go on the grass, not right to the wetland
Right.
area.
Okay.
And yeah, when they're doing the work and digging a hole, just want to make sure the soil gets stockpiled somewhere farther from the wetland, and that's protected with silt fence or some other erosion control to prevent anything from running off to the wetland. In this case, they're able to keep a 50-foot buffer between the work and the wetland, which generally is reasonable. Anything within 100 feet we have to review, but yeah, and like I said, I haven't gone out yet to take a look, so I might have other questions. The pool itself will be 78 feet from the wetlands, just some of the earthwork will come a little closer, but
Yeah.
and
Does the Conservation Commission take into consideration the fence that has to be around it and all that, or is that a different? I know.
Yeah.
Is that required?
Not the
That's been
fence,
required?
but if there's a
Yeah.
lot of patio around it, usually we want to see that, and I guess they didn't show, I'm presuming because they're showing like where it's going to be level and then where it's going to drop off. Probably that level area might be a lot of patio.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you do want to minimize impervious surfaces close to wetlands as much as possible, but yeah, we could just clarify, you know, if that slope is going to be grassed or,
The
Anything
slope,
else?
there's gonna be like shrubs there too,
okay.
and rock.
Yeah, maybe we'll have them just like make a couple more notes just
Okay.
to show what's going to be patio
Okay,
and what's going to be like grass or stone or anything else.
okay.
Just so we're all on the same page, but yeah, and your septic's in the front yard, so that makes things simpler. So I shouldn't have any issue with the sanitarian as long as, I think they make you show that you'd still have a reserve area, but I could see from the original plan from the house, there was a reserve area shown on the other side of your driveway, so probably that would still suffice.
What's the reserve area? Sorry.
In case you ever had to redo your septic system.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yep.
not really our realm, but the sanitarian typically needs to make sure that once you put the pool in, there's still another suitable area for septic, but
Yeah.
in this case, it looks like it would be the other side of your
It could
driveway.
be the right side. The left side is the propane tank, so it could be the right side.
Oh, okay. Well, that's where your current system is, but anyway, I can always check with her. And just
The right side of the house. I'm saying like the side yard.
if you're looking at from the road, or
No, if you're facing the house, the right of the right of the house, all I have is a well. The well's right there. I was told that when I moved in, that if anything happened, I could be septic there. The left
Oh.
facing the house is the propane tank. It's buried.
okay, yeah. Originally, when the house was proposed to be built, they were showing the septic system pretty close to the road to the right of your driveway, and
Oh,
then
okay.
the reserve area on the opposite side of the driveway, but
Oh, okay.
not next to the house, but like
I get it.
on the other side of the driveway. But,
Okay, yeah, I get that.
but so that might still be suitable anyway
Yeah.
for the sanitarian.
You can
to-
still do that, yeah. There's enough space.
Okay. But does anyone have any other questions or anything to ask Pullman or?
So you don't have anything to do with the fencing around the pool and all the regulations with that?
No, that'd be the building official. Yeah, you usually for fences you don't need a separate building permit for that, but for a pool, I know they require the fence.
Yeah.
But assuming it's going to be, pretty tight with the pool and patio, or are you going to fence in a larger area?
My backyard is already, I
Oh,
have a very large backyard and it's already fenced in,
oh, okay.
but the chain link is not up to code.
Oh, so are you just going to add just up to code fencing just around the pool, or are you going
I
to?
don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's why I wanted to talk to someone.
Oh, okay. And we've got a little interruption in building officials where.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've actually never met the building officials that are.
What's the new guy? Because he emailed me to see.
Ray?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he volunteered to come up to my house and let me know what my options were.
Okay, yeah, and he's working, these like early and late hours. So I actually haven't met him, but
Okay.
they're currently looking to hire a full-time building official too.
I
So.
thought they found somebody.
Or I know they interviewed, but I don't know if it's official.
Oh.
But I know they interviewed like 3 people, and maybe you know more than I do from yesterday. But.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I thought a week or two ago, I thought that they already had
I think
somebody.
they just interviewed on Thursday, or
Right,
I forget
I
what day,
misunderstood
or maybe it was
them.
Monday they interviewed.
Right.
But yeah, okay. So hopefully he can help figure that out.
Okay.
Now, is the first Wednesday not until June 7th next month, I think?
Yeah, I
I
think,
think you're right.
so.
Yeah,
Yes, June 7th.
June 7th.
So that's
Mm.
when we would be able to give you the go-ahead.
Okay.
So, assuming, it looks like everything is in order, so you could sort of have things lined up to start.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any deal-breaking
Okay.
concerns or anything like that.
Okay. My kids will be happy.
Just about to say.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so we're all set with that.
Yeah, they just can't legally approve it at this meeting, but,
Okay, so the next week.
Yeah.
yeah. When, do you know when you were hoping to start?
It's like beginning of July.
Okay, that
So-
should be fine, because, yeah, they should be fine to approve it June 7th.
Okay.
And then as soon as they approve, I can sign off on your building permit application. So hopefully you'll get the fencing issue worked out with the building official in between, and then anything else. And then technically, once the application's approved, then we have to post a legal notice in the paper, and then there's a 15-day appeal period. That's just like a build at your own risk. I won't hold you up, but
Okay.
just so you know, if one of your neighbors really doesn't like you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, it never happens, but
Yeah.
but anyway, that's just the build at your own
Okay.
risk time. But
Yeah, right.
but otherwise, we should be able to
Okay.
give you the go ahead
Okay.
at June 7th meeting.
Okay. Yeah, so, one last question about that whole fence, because I am gonna have to do some of that chain link fence. And, I did a ton of work for my old house in summer. I live on Springfield Road, and I gutted the whole house.
Mm.
And stuff was approved. I know the whole situation. It was approved, and I found out it wasn't up to code when I went to go sell my house.
Oh,
Don't be
Is-
surprised,
So since it's in between inspectors in this whole fence thing,
yeah.
can I ask him for like something in writing saying that it is good? Like, I'm just so apprehensive after what just happened.
Oh, God,
I sold my
yeah.
house at 172.
Yeah.
Right.
I would want something in writing.
I don't know formally how
Okay.
what takes place, and then like I said, I haven't even met the acting building official, but
Okay.
but so I'm afraid to guess, but I think I would say it doesn't hurt to ask anyway.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something they'd provide, but
Okay.
My guess would also be that Vernon Poolman, they've done a lot of pools
Yeah,
around
they have.
here, that they could
Recommendations.
probably let you know if they think if this is gonna fly or not.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
It's great for them. I just want something in writing from the town saying
yeah.
it's up to code.
Yep.
Because when I went to go sell my house, it was an absolute nightmare.
well, now you're never gonna want to move again.
I'm never selling it. After I just had it in July, I'm never moving again. Told my wife.
Especially once you have a pool.
Oh yeah, I had a pool at the old house
Yeah. Okay.
that I just put in.
Oh,
I
man.
told you I gutted it.
Painful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
But yeah, I wish I knew more about that, but or maybe not.
No.
But
Okay.
yeah, but I'm sorry. I know it's been a little trying with
No, that's okay.
people going from one building official to then a new one, and but hopefully you haven't encountered like all three. But and then we might have a new one starting in a couple weeks. So
Okay. We'll be best friends.
Right.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But all right. Sounds anyway at least fairly straightforward. So.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll set up a. I don't know if you mind if I stop by.
No, come in anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have any dogs, so you just go right in.
That's the other question. Okay. Okay, good. And I don't. Yeah,
No
I'm
pets.
just gonna like peek in the backyard.
Yeah, it's
I'll
fine.
put
Okay.
that in the minutes, and you
Yeah.
said no dogs.
Yes. You laugh. Actually, it's funny. So did I bring it down with me? Sorry, I'm getting a little carried away. But waiting for me on my desk this afternoon when I came down, I might not have brought it with me. There's a note. I know what it is. Here we go. Literally waiting for me today. Beware dog. So I know to call first and. Yeah, I love dogs, but if a dog's defensive of their property, that's a whole other thing. But
They're in their
it's just funny.
territory.
I'm like, oh, dog alert. Okay, but all right, sounds good.
Okay.
So
Thank you
I'll
so much.
I'll come by probably Tuesday or so.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Anything else you want to talk about under audience participation?
Since
Because
you're our
the
only
only
audience.
audience. Okay.
You're free to go
All
whatever.
right, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
All
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thanks.
good night.
Thanks, you too. Hope you didn't have to park too far away.
No.
Okay, so we're on to staff report already.
Okay. That's funny. I started writing on a different one than I wrote.
Don't tell me it's gonna be an early
I'm
night.
so discombobulated.
Wow.
Oh, here we go.
Don't jinx it, don't
Yeah,
jinx it.
yes, nobody was.
I know. Fortunately, we tabled our most complicated one. But we've earned a short meeting after the last like 3 have been just
Yeah,
rough.
they're 10 o'clock.
And maybe the next one will be rough. So we'll try to keep this one as short as possible. So I have had a few like agent permits since the last meeting. One was for 52 Therese Drive. Actually, haven't issued that one yet because I need to go visit it, but it's fairly straightforward. A few years ago, they put in a above ground pool, and now they just want to put a small deck off of the pool. So it's like probably 80-ish feet from the wetland, and it's just a small pool deck. So if there is like an accessory structure, deck or a shed, above ground pool, less than 500 square feet, and at least 25 feet from a wetland, I can issue the permit without them having to come before the commission. Just kind of a little more expedient.
Sure.
So yeah, there's that pool deck that I expect to issue soon, and then 343 Hall Hill Road. I just issued a minimal impact permit for a chicken coop, which probably could have been also agriculturally exempt, but I figured easier for me to issue them the agent permit than even for them to come to a meeting and make the case for an exemption. But and because we don't charge currently for the agent permits anyway. And then okay. Oh, and then another one actually, 359 Mountain Road, which is also the 349, 359 are the 2 adjacent properties with the same owner, but separate from the application we have pending. They're just looking to put in a timber trellis leading up to one of the buildings, and it is within 100 feet of like the smaller pond.
A trellis, they need a wetland permit?
They needed a building permit application, and then especially because of the property and the scrutiny, it's like
Okay.
safest. But it
Probably a nice trellis.
it's lots of like timber posts and then cross posts. But yeah, it's not really a pervious thing because it's not really an impervious thing. It's just like a kind of decorative thing. But it's going to be under 500 square feet, and so I can issue a minimal impact permit. So I have to visit that property anyway for other applications, so hoping to just go visit for both. And if anyone else wanted to visit that property and want to go with me one at a time, we could also do that. But anyway, not to get into the other thing. And then
Can you visit it during wine
yes,
hours?
there's also that. You could just go and
During the wine hours?
look
Is
at the
that what
ducks
you
or
said?
Yeah.
yeah, 1 o'clock. So
1 o'clock.
oh yeah, so another pool is being proposed at 659 Hall Hill, and that property has a fairly large pond on it, and just a portion of a pond on it, and so a little back and forth with the pool company to try to figure out if they need a wetland permit or not. So we're working on getting better plans, and I need to go out there because there's the pond, but then it's very flat and looks very wetlandy from the aerials for quite a distance. But it's a very old property, and we don't have any good mapping for it or good site plan for it. So I'll go out and give it the sanity check, but it'll likely have to come before you for a wetland permit. And then lastly, over at 120 Watchog Road, the landing strip. Yeah. So now there's a plan to put in a new hangar because they demolished the old one,
Without a
and
permit.
and so they submitted a plan for that, but I we had some discussion at the last meeting or the one before about how there's been some tracking across the road there. And so I noted this new plan doesn't include any construction entrance or any erosion control, so I've asked them to add those to the plan. So that just happened yesterday. I asked for those things, so I haven't gotten a reply yet. But I feel like this is opportunity to improve that situation.
Mhm.
Isn't there another situation on Watchog Road that, the
Oh,
mailbox that was put up and doing work on his land?
I reached out to that property owner. I'm trying to remember the address now. That it's just like next door to this, and where the town replaced the culverts under Watchog Road, and I was told that nothing was happening there, but I need to go by and see if I see anything else. But I was actually forgetting about the mailbox itself, which is kind of a curiosity thing. But so I'll go by and reach out to them again. But I'm going to make myself a note. But yes, good point. Things to watch. But yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make a
The
motion
report.
to accept the staff report as written.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, motion carries. Personnel, just slipped my mind. There was something that.
Oh, did we want to talk about the budget too? I don't know. Is that what you?
Yeah, well, that was one of the things that I should have brought
I thought
up
of that
sooner.
later. Like I should put on the agenda the conservation funds.
Yeah, and no one from the Scouts has come forward, to my knowledge, asking. We have like $300 each year that we can use towards a conservation type project. Like we put duck houses somewhere years ago, or one time we bought tools for David Askew.
Or Jim Patson.
Oh, and yeah, when they were doing the Friends of Soapstone. And this year we've gotten a lot of information on testing the Scannick River, and we're lucky to have a town resident who happens to be a PhD in something or other over at St. Joe's College. And she's been pretty much single-handedly doing testing along the Scannick River and the Summersville Pond, and we got a report a couple months ago. And then we went to the first selectman, who was very supportive, and she's been paying for a lot of stuff out of pocket. It's been her own time. And she did give us a proposal for what it would cost. Yeah, is that an extra copy that he can have?
I can always print another one.
Okay.
So I don't care.
And when you leaf through it, you'll see that there are a lot of red areas in Summers,
Where the E.
where there's
coli
E.
levels.
coli, like
Yeah.
down even at the Summersville Mill Pond. And I totally zoned out, and I don't know where April went. I still have my notes to go speak to the first selectman again, as follow up after Drew and Joanne and I had sat down with her last month, because she has some ideas where some of the pollution is coming from just south of the Mass border, but unless she could add a couple more points to do testing, and now that they've pretty much already approved the money in her proposal, I wondered if we should use our funds that she had given us, and I didn't bring my notes.
Oh, that's
from
right,
that.
because that wouldn't have been enough to do
Yeah,
more sites,
we
and that'd
have
be more
to
for
go-
our.
Yeah, and
purpose.
we've got the budget referendum coming up, and then I'd be afraid the money wouldn't be in it. But if we could maybe use our funds to do those 2 additional testing sites.
Yeah.
If anybody has any other suggestions for using those funds, otherwise next month is the last month that we could come up with anything anyway. So I'd sort of like to earmark it now so that we're
Yeah.
not scrambling before the end of the fiscal year to get the funding. So I don't know what the first selectmen were going to do, if we still do have that funding in the budget.
We do have some. I need to double check now because we had. It used to always be 300,
Right.
and then I had gotten it an extra 350 the last couple of years for the Scantic monitoring. So we had been doing 650, and then unbeknownst to me, it had gotten cut back
again.
this fiscal year, and I forget now what it was at. If it was at 400, so I need to double check what it was.
Well, there should be plenty because if I'm not mistaken, she only needed like a couple hundred more to add the
Yeah.
2 test sites.
Yeah.
So if we could just vote that if the money is there to use
Yeah.
whatever to
Whatever you have, like up to
yeah,
5. I think the most you have is like 500.
and I'm pretty sure that it's
I think it's less, but
yeah,
But-
and I'll check my notes again, but
And where does it, if there's anything left over, is it gonna go to the
well, if
south?
there's anything left over, then we'll see in June if anything comes before us. But I figure first come, first served. So since no one's come forward yet, that if we approve whatever Dr. Martin needs, and then if there is anything left over and somebody comes before us, then
Oh,
we
okay,
can.
nobody's come before us.
yeah,
I
like
thought
last
the
year we had a couple
scouts were
scouts
here.
that did
They were here.
benches.
That
and
was his.
kiosks and
Those
stuff
were
for
her. The
trails.
reports of their scout.
Oh,
Before.
okay.
Eagle Scout
And I did send an
missions.
email again to Dr. Nero, who said, because I couldn't find the Scoutmaster's address, and
Oh.
he said he would forward it, but we haven't, they may just not have any scouts that are going towards their ego, this
Yeah.
particular year that has a project
Eagle
that they need
project,
to do,
yeah.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Yeah, it was nice. They came afterwards and presented what they did, and they had PowerPoint presentations. It was
They did a
They
nice
did a nice job,
job.
yeah.
They did,
That's
yeah.
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, they had
Do we have
done-
any idea how much Dr. Martin's already spent on this?
She does it each summer, so she actually wrote to me asking if we knew when it would be, because she basically uses the money just to buy the equipment.
And then she uses her own time.
Yeah, she doesn't charge for her time or anything, but so she just wants to be able to buy equipment.
And we found out that other towns along the Scannick have been funding her on a regular basis, and we hadn't. But we didn't really know that much
No,
about it until
no.
you brought it to our attention.
Yeah.
So now we know that she's been doing this, and I mean, it's got to be somewhat time intensive. I mean, she had some volunteers who would collect samples during the summer, but I think she's short
Yeah.
of those.
And this
too.
year she started this. She got a grant to start this summer stream team at the high school. So I think I forget if it's going to be like an after-school thing or if a class is taking it on. But
it's a group. I think wasn't it a group of STEM students? Or
Oh,
something
yeah.
That were and they would is it Gulfstream back there that
and they're just going to sample like right there, not
Yeah.
like off property. But it's nice that she's involving the students and
Mm.
yeah. And going forward, we're looking to have that funded on like a real line item in the town budget instead of you having to use your conservation budget each year. But it might not be really for 2 years because I think it's probably too late now for this coming fiscal year. And so it'd probably be the following one where it would be like a real line. But they said for now they should be able to use open space funds, but I don't know if that's actually happened. So because I got the email from Dr. Martin, I left myself a note to reach out to finance and make sure they know where to send it and if that's going to happen or if I need to do anything. Because when it's our budget, I submit a check request. But if it's not our budget, I don't know what it is.
she also offered to do testing at Camp Iapo, but we need to find out because the head of Public Works had in the budget for work they were going to do up there for the swim area $1,400 to test, and she would do it for like a
fraction
couple
of it.
hundred. So we didn't know if this was the state, who charges 5 times what some, or if they were doing more extensive testing,
Sure.
because if she could do it for a fraction
Right.
and was willing, then they don't need to be going,
Yeah.
to the state. But it has to be tested since they're going forward with it being a swim at your own risk.
It's if you put a sign that says no swimming, then you don't have to do anything. But if you put up a sign that says swim at your own risk, it implies you can swim there.
And they have
and then
to-
you have to test for E. coli.
And they have to put up a toilet and
Yeah.
have life-saving equipment and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So anyway, somehow I understood that they're doing it. So
So I've been trying to work on that issue with the testing IAPO and our public health staff in town had reached out to the state and they said that the lab that tests for E. coli for a swimming area needs a certain certification. I've been back and forth with
Okay.
Dr. Murray and whatever, and they don't seem to have that specific. So we're trying to figure out if it's easy enough for them to get, or if it's feasible that they'll do that, or maybe in the future. But
Okay.
I don't know how soon. Should they be test? The town would have to start testing for this summer, right? Now. So I don't know if her testing will be enough
Right.
just
Okay.
because of that. But
Well, down at the mill pond, when the E. coli levels are high, the red in her report,
Yeah.
you shouldn't even be kayaking or canoeing because you splash water all over yourself. And that's. But again, she keeps stressing that she's only taking a sample from part of the pond. But then again, it could be worse in other parts of the pond. But
Right.
And
I-
only at certain times too.
yeah, in the summer,
It
there
looked
were
like
like
it
a-
was-
summer,
a-
It spikes in July, and that's
yeah,
what I just.
well,
quick look.
what I needed to talk to Tim about too was when she finds those levels, it really should be posted down there.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
we've got high E. coli levels, and they don't swim there anyway. But now I'm thinking I wouldn't want to be splashing myself with this dirty water and whatever.
Well, we have the
so.
kayak ramp that was just installed there
Oh,
on Somerville.
Yeah.
Because my
I
kids
think
were playing
the-
soccer there, and they
ones
just
for
installed
personal
that, which is really cool.
Yeah,
You
the-
s-
Did.
The Scouts did. The Scouts did that,
No, a
didn't
new
they?
one? No, we
they?
haven't given any. We haven't given any permits.
You may have
for-
no fun
Was
after
it the
that.
town that
I
installed?
don't know. It
Didn't
was.
the-
It looked very
Didn't
new.
the
Years
Scouts-
ago.
Didn't
Years
the
ago
Scouts
they
do
did.
it? Years
He
ago,
said there's a
yeah.
new
See, how do they
kayak
keep it?
Okay, I
down
thought that was
in
one of the
South Pond.
projects.
Oh,
What
another
was
new
I thinking?
The
But that one
went
was
in
falling apart,
recently.
right?
You
The
just
one that
have,
you
it's one of
put
those
in
things
and
where
you
you can kind of
straddle it.
slide into it and you use
Yes,
it and pull
yeah,
yourself in,
yes,
and then you
I-
can
yeah.
easily get on the
Yeah.
deck or
Yeah.
dock rather.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it
okay.
helps
'Cause
when you wanna get out of
technically
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really awkward, those things. They're a lot of
Yeah,
fun, but
and then technically
getting
it's
off is
state
sketchy.
land, so then it's not even something we can approve. It's the state would have to approve it.
Oh, down at Somersville?
Yeah, there's
That's
The
state?
mill pond.
Oh, that's 'cause
Yeah.
it's the Scannick River. It's state. Oh, okay.
Well, just that portion. It's from the dam up 500 feet or something. But there's some of the land is owned by the state, that little bit of land after the little walkway down to the boat launch.
Okay.
Apparently was state land. So years ago the Boy Scouts, came to us to put in and we approved it, and I didn't realize that technically it looks like it's on state land.
Yeah. How would anyone have known?
Well,
that?
now I'm like, oh wait,
Well,
the
because-
GIS tells.
Because I was supposed to also mention to Tim and to Todd that because I guess they cut all the grass right down to the pond, and that's not what we want either.
Oh.
We don't like to have lawn down to streams and ponds and things because we need a buffer to catch garbage before it goes into the wetland or water course. So
And people like to fertilize lawns and put
yeah,
chemicals.
so the town really shouldn't necessarily be
Geese with
cutting
it.
all the grass right up to the pond.
and
but they
that's a good
just
point
do
too.
it.
Geese are easily deterred by shrubs and stuff, but grass, they're like,
Oh, yeah,
grass.
they love
Come here
to
every
spread
year.
right
Bring all my
out.
babies.
Yeah,
So by
like
not trimming it, then that's going to be a problem.
so it's just this area. So I'm excluding
See,
people.
now we have so much time we're looking at
I
things we don't
know.
even need to be looking at. Come on, people.
But this whole section is owned by the state.
This is a pond, it's a wetland.
From the dam up is that yellow area now is owned by the state, And I only realized that when we had a different application.
But why?
And then, can't do this backwards. Come on, close.
I thought when they were gonna put docks in and nobody owned it.
Yeah, so technically, in the GIS isn't 100%, but part of that yellow that was just showing, there's
Yeah.
this little like area that juts into the land that's part of the state land, and that's where like the boat launch is. So
Oh,
it's like
okay.
technically that's state land that we probably permitted the Boy Scouts to put a boat launch, but
The
I
state
mean,
never knew and never cared.
well, yeah, I know because it's been there for how long now? Yeah, but anyway,
Got it.
just an interesting little tidbit.
So what do you need, a motion to pay?
Oh, for our funds, for our
We
Conservation
probably should
conservation.
have a motion to discuss it, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
To add it to the agenda.
I thought we
it
said
to
we,
the
you were just
agenda.
saying if we have any problems with that. I don't have any problems with it.
I haven't-
But yeah, I think we
I
do.
mean, we need a little more
Right, so
information,
you want me
like,
to add it to the agenda, discussion of conservation funds? Can I have a motion to add that to the agenda after
I
the
make a
fact?
motion to add the discussion of the testing, E. coli testing,
use
Uh,
of
Use of the conservation funds.
conservation
Um,
funds.
is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I can't remember, was she gonna test at those 2 points? She wasn't gonna test just for E. coli, she was gonna test probably for
I didn't put my
nitrogen
notes
and
down with me, but
nitrogen and all of that.
there was more
because-
she could
yeah,
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's farms up
she's
there.
just doing
that-
very minimal now.
Oh,
it seems
okay.
like.
Yeah, but there's farms up there, and if they're sending stuff into the Scantic,
Yeah.
she needs to add 2 testing points.
And then, like, sort of coincidentally, there's the Connecticut River Conservancy, I think, is working with her to do a Scantic River watershed-based plan right now. They've got a grant to do that, so these things could all kind of work hand in hand, and hopefully,
Okay, so again, if
Do you
we
need a
can have a
motion?
motion to allocate, what should we say, like up to 250, because I'm pretty sure that would cover it, to add 2 testing points.
I wish I thought to grab. I don't think I can't get on. My
I'm pretty
email
sure
from
it
here, but-
wasn't more than that, because she's already doing
Yeah,
at least 6 points for $1,000, so I don't think the 2 more were more than 250.
Yeah, and I don't. And you do have more than 250 in your
Well, we'll say up to 300.
budget, but
Yeah.
and then and then we
Let's
can
do 300.
reassess next month if it's
Yeah.
and then maybe something else. I'll let you know how much we have in conservation, like how much would be left.
And I think the testing points were the first one was not too far south of the Mass border, and I'm trying to think where it crossed. Just say the two northeasterly points on the Scantic River.
Canyon Durkee or no?
Durkee is already on her list. And I was just reading it before the meeting. And
I know, and
looked at
she,
the
yeah, she
map.
wants to put in between 2 existing points to add.
I'll just say to add 2 more testing.
Yeah, 2 more.
Okay. All right. So who made that motion?
I'll make the
Lisa.
motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who seconded it?
I did.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now back to correspondence and bills. Do we
I don't have any because last time we didn't actually approve anything, so I didn't have
Okay.
to post it.
Okay. All right, minutes from April 5.
Does anyone need those?
Motion to
I
approve.
wasn't here, so I don't know.
I read them, I
I
didn't
didn't
see
see
anything
anything in
wrong.
this.
I make a motion that we approve the April 5th,
Okay.
2023 minutes as written.
I'll second that.
1
So
second.
you did a good job.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Candace. She missed you terribly last month.
I
Yeah,
know, I saw that agenda and I was like,
Got 4 pages
She was so
here.
happy.
Now we
She-
need a report on your time away.
yeah.
I did work on the flyer.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
That's what I was
nice.
going to add.
yes.
All those in favor of.
Oh, you printed out some
accepting the
too?
minutes?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries, okay.
Yeah, I got them. I already printed out.
Okay, yeah.
I'll feel better
Oh, this
using
is
the
a new
paper.
one?
Oh, yeah. No,
They're
that's,
the Conservation Commission.
Sydney's been working on like a
Nice
informational.
talk.
Nice.
Yeah, that was good.
This one's a
Very
little bit
nice.
different.
Thank you.
Oh, you already have one. Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
We just want to educate because a lot of people are in violation, but they don't know it. So I had also asked the first selectman, and of course they just sent their flyer out last week. But their next brochure that they send out, if we could sort of be highlighted.
I kind of took stuff that was on the older flyer that you had found and really just kind of moved everything around. There was a lot of stuff that Drew had wanted removed. Changed a little. I don't know if we need that link though, but I imagine we could post this on places so people would actually click on the link. I wish it was
Yeah.
shorter.
You can edit the text on the.
Well, yeah, but on this, but not if someone's looking at it, reading
If someone
it.
wants
They
to
gotta
type
know
it
how
in.
to type
You
it
know,
in.
the only
Oh,
thing
right.
That's
that
what
I
I'm
would,
thinking.
the only thing that I would
Yeah.
add
So I just
to
want to touch
it
it. And then,
is,
I'll have that too.
is kind of like a when do I need a, I know you've got when do you need a
Yeah.
wetland permit, but I wonder if there's anything that
Well,
we
that's
could
what I
put that
thought.
said, okay, you do have any activity or
Well, over here I
structure.
had
Yeah.
listed out the activities that would kind of need permits. I got rid of that because it seemed like it was too wordy and I was like, no one's gonna read this. But then this is almost redundant of the image, like what do they do for you? Up here is really, it repeats everything, so maybe this can be replaced with some of those.
I do think that that's important to.
But I'm saying it's all right here
Yeah.
too, in these texts, but
Mm.
it's just kind of repeating it, but in a different language.
On yours, is this kind of, this last one looks. like
Yeah,
a-
that was just the image that I copied.
Oh,
It might be
okay.
a copyright infringement.
Oh, yeah.
I may not even supposed to be using this image.
I can see, maybe there's one, it's nice, but yeah, I didn't, and then.
Because I noticed this one this was misspelled on this image, and that's a copy and paste.
Oh.
But you know,
Because
some,
it's,
I think some of this is important just so people know that depositing, you know,
Oh.
brush, lawn clippings,
Well, where should I
filling.
put that instead? Because it's a page is full.
Yeah, do you wanna
well,
replace
we
that
can
from-
we can look at it, or we
Okay.
can maybe
Yeah, if you want to just look
Just-
it over
yeah.
and
because as far as getting it into the selectmen's newsletter, that's not going to be for another
Yeah.
at least 3 months because you just did it and highlighted.
I can post it on the Facebook forum
Yeah.
anytime.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
But I think that's a good point too, because
Yeah.
sometimes people might not realize, like,
Throwing your brush in a pile in the
Right,
yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know, you have that a permit is needed for activity or structure, but to say that, you
What
know,
activities?
these are things we don't want you doing.
Yeah.
All right, I'll incorporate those back in there.
And one thing that I think too is important is not having lawn up to wetlands and water
Okay.
courses, because that's,
have that
there's a
one?
lot of,
Can I have this?
yes,
no, but thanks for doing that.
Joanne, you know, that they got, you know, that building that was so close to the water and you had acid water, they got it finally off the water, going to the school, you know?
Oh, yes, on Ninth District, yeah,
Ninth
oh my
District,
God.
Yeah.
Now you
Well,
can
on the
rest your,
right
go
there
to
where the
bed and
farm
sleep.
is?
Yeah, there was like, they plopped a couple sheds and like one was still there forever. And they kept saying, oh, they couldn't get it out, or it was always too wet, or.
I think they needed it for something else, they moved
and
in.
that's why they moved it.
But
So
it's
that
always,
was before my time on this commission,
Oh.
so I'm wondering, did they get a permit for all that land?
Oh,
being
no.
cleared?
No.
No.
So then they came in and they have been improving things and planting things, but like it's a gray area because what they're doing is agriculture and they want to do you know, but there was a lot of uproar over, like, all of a sudden it was so clear through there right to the stream, and they didn't technically clear cut because there was still some trees, but it's one of those.
And
But
the
School on the other side?
Yeah.
So then they were
But
like, we
not-
gotta do it too?
not immediately.
No,
He
they
owns both
actually-
sides.
he owns both
Yeah, it's
sides, yeah.
strange. Yeah.
But then the structures were before we knew that he was planning to do farming
Right.
stuff there, so.
And then the structure, not just a wetland issue, but was like right in the floodway, which is a zoning issue technically, but yeah, all kinds of issues. But they
I
have
wonder
been
how many
planting more
lacrosse
things.
balls you found.
I know, yeah.
There had to have been
A lot.
hundreds.
And there was a lot of invasive, like, you know, vines and whatever, but still, yeah. So. But it is like a trout-bearing stream, so you don't want it to be too warm. And, I have talked to them about, like, and they do want to plant more, and they want to do sort of like permaculture and have apple trees in there and different things.
I like the little conservation
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's it for tonight?
It's funny because then something, when you were going to talk about that, something else occurred to me, and then it like immediately left my brain. I know, I don't remember what it was, but
Well, we can adjourn the meeting and then if it comes to
yeah,
we
I
can talk about
lost
Already
it.
starting.
I
You
don't
guys
know,
didn't
but
leave
that
till
song, I don't know
9:55
who-
last time?
it.
Oh,
Attorneys.
sorry. Herbie,
Okay, a motion for
My
adjournment.
college
I'll
roommate.
make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
All those in
I think
favor?
that must be a record.
Well, we used to get out at
Not
8
even an
o'clock.
hour.
Yeah,
Right.
but we used to generally get out
Just
at
have a
8.
lot
It's
of
just
stuff
been a rough
happening.
few months of
Oh, you
Well, that's what
know,
I'm afraid
like
this
that?
flyer's
Yep.
gonna do. We're gonna see like